This is how long it takes to get a ripped physique. I'm going to be breaking down what goes into achieving this, and I'm going to be giving you some secrets that I haven't heard anywhere else on the internet that will massively help you in your journey. So when it comes down to the time frame of achieving your dream physique, what you got to realize is that your starting point has a massive impact on how long it will take. And in just a second, I'm going to give you a realistic time frame no matter what your starting point is. But what you got to realize is depending on where you're at, whether you're super skinny like I was or you're 300 pounds and you're overweight, it's going to have a massive impact. Whereas if you're athletic and you've been in sports all your life, but maybe you're a little bit fat, but you have some muscle, your journey is going to be way different than those other two. So I personally was super skinny growing up, and I had to bulk up and put on a lot of size in order to gain the muscle that I wanted. I also had a friend growing up who was 300 pounds overweight, and he went all the way down to 160 lean with muscle. So no matter where your starting point is, you can achieve your dream physique very quickly. Okay, and before I dive into how long it takes to achieve this dream physique, I built every single one of you an aesthetic body transformation guide, giving you all the workout splits. You can pick the one that aligns best to your lifestyle, exercise reps, the diet, what you're actually aiming for to achieve an aesthetic attractive body, and that's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below. So now the realistic time frame to achieve your dream physique, and I'm talking about a physique that you're extremely confident with, no matter what your starting point is about a year and a half. It should not take you any longer than a year and a half to achieve your fitness goals. If you dedicate yourself, if you take all the right action steps day in and day out, you will have your dream body in about a year and a half. And the reason why I say this is because that's how long it took my friend to go from 300 pounds to 160 lean. It took him about a year and a half. And in the start, he really wasn't even that serious about cutting. He didn't track his macros. He just kind of had the intention of eating a little bit less and trying to lose some weight. And this was what got him started in that initial 40, 50 pounds. And then he got motivated by that and he really wanted to take it serious. And he got all the way down to 160. He started tracking his macros. That was some of the advice I gave him. And, on the opposite side of things, for me, I was skinny, super skinny. And at 14, I was just doing all the wrong things. So I was making mistakes. So if you make mistakes, this can take a long time. But if you stick around for this video, which I'm going to break down the key things you need to do, you can make this so much quicker. So I made all the mistakes. And for that reason, from 14 to 17, I made very little progress. And I had a lean physique. I was really ripped. My abs were absolutely crazy. And I had a little bit of muscle in my chest, shoulders, and back. But if I put on a shirt, you wouldn't think I worked out. And even without a shirt, you just think that I was kind of athletic. Sort of athletic. Not that athletic. It was not that good of a situation. You'd think that I was just really lean and underfed. So that was my situation. But when I finally ate in a surplus for just 2 months, I packed on a bunch of muscle really quick. So on the opposite side of things as well, it doesn't have to take a year and a half. So I'm talking a year and a half means that you're at one of the most extreme spectrums of being overweight or super skinny. If you're someone who has maybe played sports your entire life and you're athletic, or you've been in the gym in and out, just not too consistent with it, maybe you got a little bit overweight, a little bit, not too much, you just kind of put on a little bit of fat, maybe you're 25%, you fell off a bit, you can achieve your dream physique in way quicker. I'm talking 3 to 6 months, once again, depending on where your starting point is, and you can have an amazing transformation if you follow what I'm about to break down in this video. So the first thing that's going to impact how long it takes for you to achieve your dream physique is your diet. How disciplined you are with your diet is the most important factor, especially if you fall on the outer ranges of the spectrum, being overweight or super skinny. Your diet is more important than ever before, and don't discount it if you're in the middle, because right now, as someone who has achieved their dream physique, I'm still extremely disciplined with my diet. And to get results further and further at more advanced levels, you have to even be more disciplined with your diet than ever before. I eat super boring meals like beef and rice, things like that are just really aligned with my goals. So no matter where you are in your journey, it's super important to prioritize your diet. Your diet accounts for about 70 to 80% of the results that you get. So when I was 14, going all the way to 17, I barely made any progress because I was eating in a deficit or maintenance at most as a skinny kid. And that's why I wasn't able to put on any muscle. But in quarantine, for those 2 months when I was just stuck in my house and all I did was train, and then I finally ate in a surplus, I packed on more muscle than ever before. And I came out of quarantine and all my friends looked up to me as like the fitness leader of the group. They were asking me for advice. We started hitting workouts together and I was teaching everyone what I was doing. And they all looked up to me because I finally just ate in a surplus and was able to make progress, whereas I just wasn't eating before. So if you're a skinny guy, you got to prioritize bulking. And if you're an overweight guy, you got to prioritize cutting. It's that simple. But your diet will dictate your results 100%. And in the guide, I also break down the test boosting diet, which will get your results even further when you improve your testosterone, as well as eat in alignment with your goals. And here is a mental reframe that's going to allow you to make this whole journey so much easier when it comes to diet, which is viewing food as fuel. You can't view food as pleasure. If you see food as pleasure, it's going to be very difficult for you to make this transformation because food is genuinely fuel. What do you do when you need to get energy? You eat some food, right? Because that's where a lot of your energy comes from. So if you really can make that mental reframe and accept that food is fuel, you'll start eating in alignment so that you fuel your body for success with your goals. But if you're just viewing food as pleasure, you're setting yourself up for failure because food should not be pleasure. That's how you get into being overweight or just not achieving any sort of fitness goals. So just make that mental reframe. That's the one trick I can give you, is really start to view food as fuel, and it would change your life. And now the second aspect that's going to impact your ability to achieve your dream physique is going to be how consistent you are with your training, even when you don't see progress. So as newbie gains is a thing and you're going to make a lot of progress in the beginning, you're also not going to make that much progress. It's kind of ironic. You will start to see some improvements, but at the same time, you're not going to be anywhere near the bodybuilder level of status that you might be aiming for, or even just being a lean aesthetic guy. So it's going to take a little bit longer than you think. And that's where a lot of people can get discouraged. And that's where you have to be able to stick it out in the beginning. In those initial phases when you're not seeing too much progress, that's when it's the most important to push through and stay consistent. And some of the things that you can do is you can count your wins, or you can detach the outcome and the end goal as the main driving force. And you can make your driving force just feeling good from the gym. Like that was one of the things that I did when I was in that 14 to 17 range. Was I was just going to the gym because it really made me feel good about myself. I loved the endorphins that I would get. And it was just something that made me happy. I love to just be in the gym and do a little workout. Even though I wasn't making the best progress, it still felt good to me. So there's other things that you can place your value on, metrics in which you measure success. Instead of it being like, I have to lose these 50 pounds, that is the goal that you're going for. You're not going to forget it. But if you place your progress and your metrics on other things like showing up and staying consistent, going to the gym every single day is your win instead of achieving the 50 pounds, that's going to allow you to stay consistent much easier. So it's changing the metrics in which you view success. And I'm not going to give you any one clear cut. I've given you some examples because it's different for everyone. So the metrics in which you measure success has to be aligned with your goals, your lifestyle, and everything. But that's kind of like the cheat code for staying consistent with things when you're not seeing the progress that you want at the moment, is changing the metrics in which you view success and feeling good about those things until the thing comes eventually. And then you'll have that and you'll feel good about achieving that thing that you really wanted deep down. So it's kind of just like a mental reframe and a cheat code to staying consistent when things aren't going your way. And the third reason that impacts your ability to achieve your dream physique is going to be how hard you train. See, from 14 to 16, I was doing just calisthenics, and that only got me so far. But at 17, I took on weights. But for the first 6 months of doing weights, I really didn't make too much progress, and it didn't make too much of a difference either way. And the reason why, when I went into quarantine, I started to make crazy progress, along with eating in a surplus, I finally started to push myself really hard. Because in those prior 6 months, I was doing incline barbell bench with the same 110 pounds or like 95 pounds, something in that range. It was really light. And I would just do that for like 6 to 8 reps every single workout. I don't remember being intentional and trying to progress ever. It was always just doing the exact same thing every single workout. And that's why I wasn't making progress. There was no new stimulus or really adaptations that my body was seeing that I had to grow. So if you don't push yourself hard, you're not going to make any progress. It's that simple. This is a really important aspect that is going to allow you to pack on the muscle and make the journey that you want to make. And putting on muscle never hurts. So even if you're someone who wants to go from fat to being lean, putting on muscle is only going to help you. You should never shy away from putting on muscle. With all the studies, all the things, I've watched so many different videos, read so many different things. People always say the best thing to do is put on muscle. You're never going to put on too much muscle. It's really hard to build muscle actually. So trying to put on muscle lifting heavy is only going to benefit you. It's one of the most researched and proven things to benefit your life, no matter who you are. So try and pack on as much muscle as you can. Train really hard. This is only going to help you. And I'll give you some things that you can do. So one is you should track your lifts. So your key compound lifts. So your shoulder press, your bench, pull-ups, dips, squats, RDLs, deadlifts, whichever one you do. Those are your key lifts. You should be tracking those and trying to continually improve. So either improving the amount of reps or the amount of weight. And if you do that, you will make progress. That is the proven way that I've used over the last 3 or 4 years to make progress. And in the times when I've really focused on it, taken one lift and been super like prioritizing that more than anything else, that's when I make crazy progress. Is when I hyper focus and specialize on something, then I'll end up adding crazy amounts of muscle and progressing on a lift like I never thought I would have if I just focused on it. I'll give you an example. So about 2 years ago, I really wanted to take my RDL to the next level. So for a long time, I was just doing about like 205, 225 for maybe like 8 to 10 reps, and that's okay. It's enough to maintain, but it wasn't really progressing anywhere. So I took it super serious one fall and winter, and I took it all the way up to 285 for 8, I believe was my best ever. So I increased my weight about 50 pounds, 50, 60 pounds in a short period of time. It was only a couple months. And that ended up packing on a bunch of muscle on my glutes, my hamstrings, my lower back, even just like my traps and upper back got really strong from holding that weight. So it's when you really focus on progressive overload and pushing yourself, and in the mix, you are going to be pushing yourself super hard when you track them, because at a certain point, you're going to hit your cap, right? And then that's where it comes to pushing yourself. You hit your cap at, let's just say it was like 235 for 10. Now the next workout, it's 235 for 11, and that's just pushing yourself one more rep. 235 for 12, 235 for 13. And now you're like, okay, let's go up to 245, and maybe you do it for 9. And now the next workout, it's 10. And before you know it, you're really pushing yourself. And if you add this up over a long period of time, you start putting on a bunch of weight, and you're doing it for reps. And now you're building muscle quicker than ever before and achieving your goals. So that's the last thing that I really want to stress. It will not be that impactful if you don't have your diet in place and you don't have consistency. And that's kind of the thing I was mentioning at the end. It's like it adds up over a period of time. So that's why I saved it for the end. But this is a really overlooked thing, which has a massive impact on your journey. So these are the 3 things that I would say, if I could go back in time, would have the biggest impact on my own journey. These are the 3 things that I wish I could have told myself, the 3 mental reframes and just knowledge that I wish I could have passed on to my younger self. So I broke everything down for you. That's all the key things that I would say go into achieving your dream physique. And you can realistically do this in about 1.5 years if you commit yourself to this journey. And once again, I built the Aesthetic Body Transformation Guide to help you get started on your journey. So if you're sick of not having an aesthetic body, or you just want to take your body to the next level, go ahead and grab that. It's for free. It's the first link in the description below.